Good evening and welcome to my channel. CLFurlong here, and we are all about running, lifestyle and everything in between. And today we're going to be chatting about the goals for 2021. Let's get into it. So it's been 30 days since I released the video of taking a chance on me, and that is super exciting. It's gone so quick, but it's also been a great 30 days of just really, getting into a routine, getting into the zone and getting my mind into the places where I need it to be to enable me to actually start to make things happen. And when I say 30 days in, I mean, today is, what is today? Today's the 9th of Feb. You're thinking, wait, that doesn't add up, Chris. Well, it's because I kicked off my This Is It video on the 11th of January, and it's been 30 days since there, and wow, just wow. There's a lot to go through today, and before we even go through the goals, there's probably two areas that I want to touch on. Number one being how I approach goals, and two, just kind of giving you guys some context of how I feel about doing this, because this is scary as heck, but we'll get to that in a minute. So when it comes to how I approach goals, look, usually this is broken down into a few different areas, but at the start of each year, I like to leverage, I guess, January to kind of set the scene and to really play out some of the ideas, some of the things of, what I want to try or what I want to experience. So whether it's testing out some new habits or trying a new routine, or I guess really using January as a way to kind of just throw things at a wall and see what sticks. And it's a chance to let the mind run wild, right? To see what I'm interested in. And it's been great to be able to do that all of January and, a little bit into February as well. So it's exciting to always have that mind space, because it also helps to give me a glimpse of what I think the year can look like as well. Secondly, for an example, for running, I want to let the year settle in. I don't want to just jump in straight away and be like, this year my New Year's resolution for running is blah, 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 blah. Because usually there's a lot of hype at the end of each year as we finish off a single year. You're always looking at, from the start of the new year, I want to be doing X, Y, and Z, or I want to get fit, or I want to get healthy. I don't like doing that mentality, because I sometimes feel like it can be a bit I guess overwhelming, and you get into this hype and then you realize, hang on, I haven't even thought this out. Now, not saying that I want to think out my goals to the point that they're going to be, easily won, but I want to make sure that I'm just being smart about what do I really want to achieve, and understand, is it just a nice goal, to kind of flex and say, hey, yeah, I did this, versus is it something that's going to help me continue to grow, not just this year, but further on, down the track as well, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc., etc. So the other thing to mention here is, when looking at other areas of my life, I let some, I guess, I do some test data, I let some dummy data help tell me what I'm seeing, and that helps kind of set a baseline or set an example of what is a taste to come. Now, in this case, around reselling, I've been using the last 30 days since the 11th of Jan to really see what the possibilities are. What have I been able to do? What's the potential? And, by leveraging that data, it kind of helps me set a baseline of what I think I can scale at, whether it's even higher or maintain that or whatnot. So we'll get into that shortly, but that's kind of where I'm at and how I kind of got to this point in terms of why am I, talking about my goals for 2021, and we're already in February, almost halfway through February. So it's been, a good 30 days of kind of just really fleshing out what I want to, share with you guys. And that kind of leads to the next area around, well, what are these goals, right? And I've broken it down into 4 areas. It's the running, the reselling, Furrii / my business, and then, other / personal. And before we can even get into those details around, what do those goals look like, and the different tiers and levels, and, all the data behind that, there's this little video that I want to share with you all straight up, which I filmed this morning while I was out running, and it kind of helps, I guess, give you guys the raw perspective of how I'm feeling about this. And just watch it. Have a watch. I've been challenging, and I've been challenged, but I'm challenging myself around priorities and task management and getting things done. Now, at the time of doing this video, I'm going to be releasing my goals video the day after, and there's a lot in there which scares the heck out of me. And when I talk about goals, it's because what if you fail? So I'm setting those goals up, which I'll be releasing around running, around my reselling and other areas as well. And it gets me nervous, it gets me excited, but if I want to do this, I need to put in action. So today I'm going to be not going out thrifting. I've got a deaf pile that I need to smash. I need to get listed, and we're going to do that and see what happens. But first, we're going to run. I've got to do some mailing. I've got about 11 packages I've got to mail, so biggest mail run ever. Super exciting. Let's go. It's good just to be able to think about some of the things that's going on in my head. Just not bad things, all good things. You know, I'm just planning out my goals, and as I mentioned, doing goals scares me. It really scares me because I'm the type of person that if I'm going to put a goal out there, I want to deliver. And it's always one of those things is I don't want to put a goal out which is way too easy, because it's not going to stretch me, it's not going to grow me. However, when it comes to them putting what I think I can do, that's when the doubt creeps in. That's when the, is this even possible? Can I do this? That's too high. I can't do that. And it's about finding that fine line. Now, the other way you could look at it is go super high. Go for that super high goal and, you know, fail below it, but then you're failing above what you thought you couldn't do as well. But then sometimes you become so intimidated by these goals that it's a little too hard. So lots that I'm thinking about, and to be honest, it's not an easy thing, right? And what I love about goals is I'll set some goals at the start of this year, and then as I progress through the year, they'll change, they'll adapt, and I'll put some new ones in and whatnot. And that's the journey. That's part of it. That's what I'm here to share as well. So let's get into a bit more about goals, huh? Let's get into it. So there you go. That's the reality of it, and I'm not going to be scared to say it again. I am scared. I am terrified about doing goals. To be honest, it's not that I hate doing goals. I get nervous. I get worried that, you know, here I am about to say all this stuff, and what if I fail? It makes me vulnerable, and that's okay, right? I need to go into this understanding that, you know, there's probably, you know, a lot in this that I might not achieve, and there's probably a lot of other things that will come up that I will put into play, that I will, you know, set mid-year or set, you know, 3 months in. And I think that's something very key to be very clear about, whether it's, well, for me, I need to be clear about it, but for you, when you're going into your goals is, you know, do checkpoints. Check in every so often with yourself and see, how is this going? Is this realistic? Is this something which is continuing to, you know, for your longer term vision? Because I am a long-term player, and I like to think, well, you know, where do I want to be at this age, or what do I want to have achieved by here or there? And, you know, I'm almost 30, and, you know, I had goals of what I wanted to achieve by 30. Now, some of those things have changed completely because things change in life. And I think it's always smart to be able to, you know, take a checkpoint, you know, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you know, halfway through the year, you know, and see how you're progressing and reassess and, you know, adjust if you need to. So I will be doing that as well, and I'll be doing my monthly streams anyway, talking how I'm progressing and keeping you guys up to date and keeping myself honest. And a lot of this data that we're about to go through will be discussed in those live streams going forward. So let's get into the goals. Let's get into it. So first up is running, and I've kind of already touched on this a bit in one of my videos, but let me reiterate it and let me just be very clear, and I've had a bit more thought around it. And this is, you know, there's some areas where I really want to focus on, and the big one is I want to do my first ultra marathon this year, which will be a 50k, and that's my priority. But to get to there, I feel like, you know, I need to be building a better base, and I want to try and take what my 5k is and make that a 10k. So when I think about, I'm going out for a run, usually I do a 5k. I want that to be 10k. I want 10k to be my new 5k. The other thing is I want to set a goal to do a half marathon every single month, whether it's a race or just actually getting out and getting it done. And I think that's just cool to be able to say I've done half marathon every single month. And, you know, I want to track that, share the stats, and see if there is progressive growth. But I'm not necessarily going out there to beat the time each time. I just want to do it and see what happens. The other thing is I want to be running with a lot more, I guess, comfort. And the best way to do that is to bring my heart rate down. How I intend to do that, I haven't figured that out yet. I'm, talking to a few people, and I've got some advice and got some books and different stuff that I'm going through, but I'm trying to bring that heart rate down so I can run a lot further, a lot more comfortable and feeling stronger. So that's an area that I'm going to be focusing on. And then, the nice goal that I would like to achieve is 2,000 kilometers for this year, which I think is doable with all the training that I'm going to be doing for the Ultra, upping my base to 10K. I think some of this will come natural, but hey, it's still a nice goal to have as well. So that's running. It's nothing super intense, but I think there is some challenges in there. And, I will intend to do the Melbourne Marathon again this year, third year in a row, but my priority is that Ultra Marathon. And I think that's the key thing, is because that's nothing, it's not small. Like that's a big deal. I mean, I still struggle with a marathon. So to be, stepping up to a full ultra, that's scary stuff. But hey, that's why we're setting the goal, something to try and work towards. So let's see if we can do it. The second area of goals for this year is around my reselling. And, I've kind of leveraged the 30 days since the 11th of January to kind of set a baseline or really see what's possible. I had actually set a 30-day goal at the start of, this year, or the 11th of Jan, when I did the This Is It video. I hadn't shared it with anyone, but, kind of what I said to myself is, let's aim for, I think the exact number was around $1,900. And that was based off some of the numbers that I'd been playing with already. And as of today, exactly today, before even filming this, I checked the latest numbers. I've done a total revenue sales since the 11th of January of $2,153. So I've come in around 13% higher than I had planned. But, that was kind of just off some, basic data. But, now being able to flesh that out and see that I can possibly do a bit better than I expected, I've put some really ambitious goals going ahead. And, I've broken this down into a number of different, milestones. And look, they're ambitious, and as you've seen, I've just spoken about when I was out running this morning, that this stuff scares the crap out of me, because it makes me nervous, because, I already feel like no way I can do this. But at the same time, I think, well, I'm motivated to do it. So if I don't set it, I'm not going to know. And if I don't set it, I've got nothing to go for. So I need to be ambitious, because if you're not ambitious, you're always going to be sitting with the comfort, right? So this is how it's going to look. 60 days, I want to be doing 4K revenue. Now, what I mean by that, I want to have done a total of 4K revenue by 60 days, which isn't too bad. That's double what I've done now. So I think that's basic. But by 90 days, I want to have upped that to a total of 7.2K revenue. By 120 days, I want to be 11.5K. By 150 days, I want to be 17.3K. By 171 days, I want to be 23.7K. By 258 days, I want to be $51,000 in total revenue. And by 355 days, I want to be 100K in revenue. Now, there's some extreme jumps there. We're basically averaging around an 18% increase per milestone, basically, which is, it's crazy. Look, right now, I'm thinking this is not possible. That is 100% transparent, because I've gone through this, and I was thinking, should I even be putting this up? Because what if I fail? Well, if I fail, that's part of the journey. But if I don't have it, look, even if I came in at half this, I am going to be so happy, because that's just crazy. Reselling from thrift shops and whatnot. So I think, to put that into perspective, if I don't set the goal, we don't know what's going to happen. I could get even better. Now, even for me to fathom that at this point is very, very difficult. But it's the same with running. I never even imagined, I couldn't fathom doing a marathon. I couldn't fathom doing a half marathon. Once I've done it, it was like, hey, I could do this again. And I can do more. And it's the mentality, right? So it's very ambitious, but if I don't set it, I'm not going to know. And now I've shared it with you, and we can check in and see how that's tracking each month. So it's super scary. And there's going to be a lot of smaller goals and things behind this in order me to reach that scale, which we'll break down and jump into as we progress through the months coming. But that's the reality of it. And when you're probably asking, why have I got like 171 days? There's certain dates here and there which I want to play it against. I've got my birthday in there. I've got, end of financial year and things like that. So, and just to be clear, these days in terms of counts are from the 11th of January, 2021. All right, so the third area of goals that I want to be trying to attempt and achieve this year is around Furrii, my business. Now, this one actually probably scares me the most because I feel like I failed the most here in the last 5-6 years. And I've really struggled to put down what I want to achieve here because there's a lot here. Like, I want it to be honest, I want it to be everything and anything it can be. And I'm going to have to come back to this. But what I've said at the moment is, one, I want to launch the podcast before the end of February 2021, which is scary because that's coming up very quick. But I think that's more than doable. I want to be, and these goals, once again, they're not necessarily bound by time. So I could be achieving these at any point in time of the year. But I want to, this is in order of how I want to achieve it. I want to launch the podcast. I want to get to 100 subscribers or active listeners, and you can have numbers of people, but I want it's consistent of 100 people listening. That would be the milestone that I want to reach to tick off. And then I want to have at least one monthly guest podcast, and with supplementary content along the way. But ideally, my goal is to have every month that I would have a guest on that podcast, and then have the podcast also running, sharing all the other things that I would be normally sharing in terms of content-wise, which scares me so much because I feel like that's a lot of work. But if I don't set these goals, got nothing to work towards, and that's all I've said at this point. But there's a lot of things of where I want Furrii to be, and one of the areas that I said this year is what I want to document and share, and that will start to happen more and more as we get into that. And as I do it, I think I'll be able to share more and more and help you understand the vision and the where I want to take it. And like I said, being 100% authentic and vulnerable to this is probably one area where I have tended to if I see something, I ignore it or I look away from it because I feel ashamed by that I haven't gotten it to where I wanted it to be. And this is my chance to fix that, but I'm also scared that I'm going to fail again. And failure is it can be a big hit, but it's only failure if you stop doing it or if you give up. So I really need to just suck it up and get on with it and see what I can do. So we'll be definitely touching on this one, and keep me honest. Which brings me to the fourth area of other and personal. And there's a lot here, and once again there's smaller areas across this, but the first area is going to be YouTube. And once again, I've put some milestones of some things that I would like to achieve. First one being 1K YouTube subs. I want to hit that 1,000. Now, when I hit 1,000, it doesn't mean anything. It just means it's a nice number, and it's that substantial number that people just want to get to. But ideally, I want to be that way further. So it would be great to be able to get to 2K subscribers this year. But at the same time, I want to be monetized, and I also want to be hitting at least 1 month of $500 in revenue from YouTube. Now, to put that into perspective, $500 in monthly revenue, at least 1 month, that could mean anywhere between needing to have between 5 and 10,000 subscribers, or it might mean having smaller amount but having memberships, or it might mean having super chats and people actually, whether it's donations or supporting or Patreon and all that jazz. So there's a few different ways to look at that. I don't want people to think that, I'm going to have 100,000 subscribers and stuff. Hey, that'd be great. But what I did is I took away from the number of having actual subscriber numbers, because at the end of the day, the subscriber numbers it's a number, right? What I really want is I want it to be another source of income while I'm creating content and sharing and building. And I think putting that value of $500 of a monthly revenue from YouTube, that's a nice ambitious number to have. Now, it's actually still quite a hard lot of work to get to that point, because it comes down to the type of content you're sharing, people wanting to watch that content, and then even making sure that is it relevant to be having ads on that. So there's a bit more than just as easy as what I'm saying there. And that's why I think it's going to be a bit more of a challenge than just saying, yeah, I want 10,000 subs, or I want 5,000 subs, or I want 100,000, all that. It's a bit overwhelming, and even saying that out loud scares the heck out of me. It really does. But once again, if I'm not ambitious, I mean, I can say I just want 1,000 subscribers, but at the end of the day, that's not going to cut it for me. I want to be more ambitious. I want I don't want the number of 1,000. The 1,000 is a goal to, say that I've kicked it off, and actually I'll, reward myself when I hit that. But really, as 100% transparency, I want it to be another source of income, and to be able to build out content, create content, share content, and be able to make, some sort of a living from it. And I think hitting that $500 value will start to show me that there is some great opportunity here. And it would push me to work that extra harder. Other areas that I want to grow out, non-YouTube related, and other areas that I haven't even really chatted about on this channel before is I want to grow my stock portfolio by 43%. Now, it's a very specific number in mind, but there's a total value that I would like to see my stock portfolio grow to. And to get there, I would have to go up by 43%. So how I'm going to get there is, continuing to invest how I do invest, but also spice it up, change it up, do some different investments and whatnot. And now the stock portfolio, look, it probably actually shouldn't just be stocks, because I do have cryptocurrency, and I do have shares, but maybe there's some other things that I can invest in to help build out that portfolio as well. And if that's something that you're curious about, let me know in the comments below, because maybe that's something more we can talk about too. The other one, which is probably going to throw a few people off, is I want to play more video games. And that's seriously, it's a bizarre thing, but I love video games, and I always put it aside, and I'm always trying to do this hustle or do that or do this, and doing lots of things. But I think it's important that I set some time, or some downtime, right? And I haven't finished a video game, end to end in maybe about 10 years, like actually completed a game. So I would like to complete about 3 games this year. I think that's a good amount to see that it's a tangible result. What that looks like, I have no idea. So I'll be trying to suss that out, and I would love to be able to share that with people as well, because a lot of the people that I chat with are gamers. You guys are gamers and have similar interests, and some of you aren't either, but that's something that is a personal goal for myself, to be able to force myself to step away and just get into that mindset. The other thing is I want to listen to a minimum of 12 audiobooks. Last year I got a huge taste of doing audiobooks, and I've been slack already this year because, well, I've just been so focused on getting everything set up, and I've been listening to more podcasts than audiobooks, but I'd like to smash out at least 12 audiobooks. The reason why I say 12 is it averages out to 1 per month, which I think is way more than doable. But once again, I think last year I did 5, so I think 12 would be a good reach, especially when I start to train even those longer distances. They're going to be my best friends when it comes to that kind of stuff. And the other area is I want to bring back drumming into my life. This has been a neglected area, which I kind of disappointed with myself. And I mean, this year is all about, this is it, taking a chance on me, and it's a chance for me to explore, try things, see if things work, see if things don't. And look, I think there's going to be a lot of lessons learned along everything that I've just spoken about. And some things won't work out, some things will, and I'll have to adjust, and we'll take a reality check, right? But I'm putting it all out there because I want to be very clear and honest and say that, well, it's good to have goals, and there's other areas of things that I'll be working on, and I'll spring them up and share with you as well. But in order to achieve some of these things, I have to be doing these habits and goals and I have to be doing habits and smaller goals and routines in order to achieve them. So there'll be smaller pieces of the puzzle that I have to achieve before, all these things come to life. But kind of moving away from what I was just saying about drumming, I want to bring drumming back into my life. And, my first intent is to sell my acoustic drum kit and get an electric drum kit so that I can remove the barrier of not being able to do it at any time. once I remove that friction, it enables me to be able to get back into it, and see if I can bring an element to the channel as well. And right here and now, I feel like there's probably a big question that people are thinking, or a big thought that people are thinking is, Chris, there's a lot of stuff you have here, and I know that, I'm aware of that, but I'm already doing the running. The reselling is happening. The furry is probably the area which I think is going to be the hardest for me to do, because that has become an area which as I mentioned, I fear the most. And then there's a few other areas there which I haven't touched on for many years, and some of them is for my own, to make sure that I am, relaxing or trying new things and challenging myself in different areas of my life. And look, we're going to progress through these. We're going to check in monthly. We're going to see what I can achieve. And you'll keep me honest, I'll keep me honest. I mean, I've said it now, you're listening to it, so let's see what happens. And the power of sharing is scary, but it's also, it enables me to put something out there and say, well, this is what I've said, this is the reality of it, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, usually what I would do is I would set goals in my head, and then all I have to do is share with you the success and tell you the highlight reel. I don't have to just tell you that, I'd set this and I failed, whatever. But I think it's great to be able to put a lot of these things on the table and say, look, these are the things I'm going for, and these are the ones I'm sharing anyway, and let's see what happens. Because I guarantee you're all thinking of different things that you want to achieve this year, and you don't like to share them because you think you're going to fail, or you only share the highlight ones, but you don't share the ones that you've neglected. And I don't want to do that anymore. I really want to try and share a better, open, authentic journey. So here we are. This is it. This is the goals for 2021. I'm super scared. I really am. But hey, this is the journey. So from what happens from here is every month I want to do a check-in progressing. I want to do a check-in on the progress of how we're going, or how I'm going, and talking about the running. And we've kind of touched on this in the first live stream. If you haven't watched it, you can jump back there. But I went through the running. I went through the numbers of reselling. I was open and clear about Furrii. I didn't touch on the other areas as much. I did on the YouTube, but not as much in some of these other areas. But I want to start to touch into those more and share with you, what that looks like. And if anyone hasn't checked out my Instagram, jump on over there, because I do not daily, but almost daily posts sharing what I did today, what was a win, what wasn't a win, the lessons I'm learning and whatnot. So that's how this will be progressing going forward. I'll continue to be doing all my other videos and, spicing that up and whatnot. But what I need from you is, well, one, let me know your comments, your thoughts, your concerns. I'm sure some of you are probably thinking this is crazy. Some of you are thinking this is great. Let me know below. And also, feedback. What would you like to see? Is there something there that has intrigued you? Is there something there that you think I've missed? Or what about this? Or what about that? Let me know in the comments below. And all I ask from you is that, and you come along for the journey as well. And if you've got your own goals, if you've got your own things that you're trying to achieve, let me know, or hit me up, send me a message, and I'd love to chat about that. Because, if you don't take control of the things that you want, they're never going to happen, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose for this year, is for me to really take a chance and just see what's going to stick. I've already done a little dabbling in that in January, but now it's time to get serious. And yeah, I've put it out there now, so it's happening. It's happening. Anyway, that is it. Thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'm super nervous. Anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do the whole shebang, and hustle. Ciao.